This happened right before COVID got big, January 2020. I was flying from Chicago O'Hare to Portland for work. Red-eye flight, stupid timing, but it was a last-minute project and the only ticket left that didn't require selling my liver. I was already having a bad day. My original flight got canceled, my backup was delayed twice, and when I finally made it to the terminal, they switched the gate again, this time to some weird one I'd never seen before. I fly semi-regularly for work, and I know O'Hare pretty well, but this gate wasn't in the usual rotation. They moved us to gate B19, which, to be clear, exists, but it wasn't where it normally is. Or at least, it didn't feel like it. You had to go down this side hallway past a section under construction. Everything got quieter, colder. The lights were dimmer, like half the bulbs were burnt out, but no one cared enough to fix them. I'm not exaggerating when I say it didn't feel like part of the airport anymore. It felt like an old annex someone forgot to shut down. There were already a few people there when I arrived, maybe 6 or 7 scattered across the seats. It was dead silent, except for a janitor dragging a mop bucket across the tiles somewhere out of sight. No one was talking, no music, no boarding announcements, no one on their phones, which is weird for an airport. Usually you can't avoid hearing someone FaceTiming or watching a TikTok on speaker. But here, nothing. I sat down, 2 rows away from a woman in a red scarf. She had one of those rolling bags with the TSA tag still on it. I remember her because she kept looking at her watch every minute or so, like she was timing something. She'd glance up at the departure screen, then down again. But the screen was blank, just white. Like the contrast had been turned all the way up. I thought maybe it had glitched, so I walked up to the counter to check. No gate agent, no flight number, no now boarding light, just silence. That's when I started to feel it. That little knot in the stomach, the one that whispers, something's not right here. It wasn't panic exactly, just unease. Like I'd walked into a waiting room for an appointment I didn't remember making. The weirdest part? People started disappearing. Not all at once, just slowly, one by one. I looked up from my phone at one point and half the people were gone. No boarding call, no ramp noise, nothing. Just empty chairs. That should have been a red flag, right? But I just sat there. I think part of me thought maybe I missed something. Like maybe they were doing silent boarding for some reason, or maybe the intercom was busted. Maybe I was the one who was off. Eventually, it was just me and a guy in a gray business suit. He looked rough, not tired, worn out, pale like he hadn't been outside in weeks. He kept opening his laptop and then just staring at the screen without typing. I stood up, stretched a little, tried to act casual and said, "Do you know if they've started boarding yet?" He looked up at me slowly, like I'd interrupted something deep. Then he said, "It doesn't go where they say it does." That's all. Then he closed the laptop, stood up, and walked toward the glass doors to the jet bridge. They opened. No sound, no agent, just opened. He walked through. The doors closed behind him. I waited there, standing in the middle of that empty gate, holding my bag like an idiot. The silence was louder now. The air felt still but tight, like an elevator just before the drop. I walked over to the monitor again, still blank, not even a flight number anymore, just a white screen, faintly flickering at the edges. I tried to check my boarding pass on my phone, but the airline app wouldn't load. Not glitched, it just sat on the loading screen forever. My Wi-Fi was fine, cell signal too, everything else worked, but the airline app wouldn't open. I backed away, went to the hallway, walked, then jogged, then walked again. Didn't look back. I ended up near a Dunkin', back in the main concourse, music playing, TSA agents laughing about something. It felt like waking up. I checked the board again. No record of my flight. The one from gate B19 wasn't listed. I checked my email. The confirmation was still there, same flight number, same airline, but the gate listed was different, and that gate didn't exist. I found an airline kiosk and asked if I'd missed my flight. He typed a few things, then said, "Looks like it never left." Then he asked me if I wanted to rebook. I said yes. Took the first flight out the next morning, different terminal, different airline. Slept in a chair near a charging station with my bag wrapped around my leg. I haven't booked a red-eye since. The kicker? 2 months later, I was bored and scrolling through some old travel blogs, and I came across a post talking about unused gates in large airports, how some of them are kept on the books for logistics, overflow, or emergency diversions, but never actually used. B-19 was on that list. Technically operational, but rarely active, mostly used for internal staff rerouting or misdirected freight. I know what I saw. I know where I sat. I still have the email. But I also know I never saw anyone actually board that flight. I think about that guy in the suit sometimes. The way he looked at me, the way he spoke like it wasn't the first time he'd said it. It doesn't go where they say it does. Still don't know what he meant, but I didn't find out either, and I'm fine with that.